What do Wilt Chamberlain, George McCann, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Shaquille O'Neal, and Steph Curry all have in common? Of course, they are first ballot Hall of Famers, but that's not the focus today. They were so ridiculously dominant that the NBA just had to come up with rules that would probably never have existed had these men not graced the NBA. In this video, are NBA stars so good, so unfair, that the league had to rewrite the rulebook just to slow them down? Let's get into it.
So can you add another double-digit score to Steph Curry?
Number 10, Lou Alcindor, or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the dunk ban, 1967 to 1976. Before he became famous as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he was Lou Alcindor at UCLA. In his freshman year, he dropped 56 points in his first game. This was crazy, but he hadn't even started yet. By his sophomore year, he was dunking on literally everyone. He soon got so unplayable, the NCAA knew something had to be done for other stars to enjoy the game when he was on the court. Well, since dunking was his superpower, the NCAA banned the dunk from 1967 to 1976. This 9-year period will always be remembered as the Kareem Rule. College coaches complained that Alcindor made the game unwatchable because no one could stop him from catching the ball and slamming it. So outlawing the dunk was their solution. They thought they had hit him where it mattered, but the fact is, it didn't matter. Alcindor just developed the unblockable skyhook instead and won 3 straight national titles anyway. The rule stayed until his senior year in the pros. Dunking was only temporarily canceled, but this next rule change hasn't been altered. Number 9, Bob Pettit, Bill Russell era, widening the lane, 1951 and 1954. In the early 1950s, the lane was only 6 feet wide. This seemed just perfect for the game, but for some reason, it actually was quite a mistake. Big men like George McCann camped under the basket and scored at will. Then came Bob Pettit and Bill Russell, both 6'9" forwards who were too athletic for the era. No one actually had the right size to take them on. After McCann's Minneapolis Lakers became so dominant, the league widened the lane from 6 feet to 12 feet to force bigs away from the rim. In 1954, they realized that wasn't enough, so they added 4 feet to bring it to 16 feet, where it still is today. Other than literally moving the basket farther away, because guys were too good at standing under it. Imagine if today the NBA moved the three-point line back to 30 feet because of Steph. That's what they did in the 50s. The fact is, this could happen sooner than later. We will see more of this later. This next player forced more moves than he probably saw coming. Number 8, Wilt Chamberlain, free throw lane and goaltending rules, 1950s and 1960s. Wilt Chamberlain was so good, he forced not 1, but 4 rule changes. This happened both while he was in college and in the NBA. As a college player in 1956, Wilt would catch the ball on the way down and dunk it. So, offensive goaltending became legalized. In the 1960s, the lane widened again indirectly because of his dominance. It gets more interesting. Before Wilt, you could stand out of bounds forever while inbounding under your own basket. Wilt would just camp in the lane and catch lobs. So the NBA introduced the 5-second inbound rule. Additionally, Wilt made the NBA introduce the free throw lane violation. The reason for this was he would take 1 step and leap from behind the line to dunk his free throws. So officials had to make him stay behind the line the entire time. Wilt was so athletic, he was breaking rules that had existed since James Naismith invented the game. They had to invent new ones just for him. Number 7, Shaquille O'Neal, hack-a-Shaq and zone defense legalized, 1999 to 2001. Shaq, in his prime, was the most physically dominant force ever. 7'1", 325 pounds, running the floor like a guard. Teams had no answer. And guess what? They started fouling him on purpose. Teams fouled Shaq off the ball constantly. And the league tried to stop it by saying you can't foul off the ball in the last 2 minutes. So teams just did it in the first 46 minutes. Shaq was still quite unplayable, so the NBA finally legalized zone defense for the first time since 1947. Why? Because the only way to slow Shaq was to put multiple bodies around him without getting called for illegal defense. Shaq was so dominant that the league said, fine, you can triple team him now. And even with the zone legal, he still three-peated and won finals MVP every year. He was just an absolute monster. Number 6. George McCann, goaltending rule invented, 1944 to 45. Before 1944, there was a no goaltending rule. George McCann, the NBA's first superstar at 6'10", would just stand under the basket and swat shots off the rim all game. In one game, McCann blocked 13 shots, many of them after the ball hit the rim. Fans hated it. So, in 1944 to 45, the NCAA and pro leagues invented goaltending because one man was turning basketball into volleyball. McCann still averaged 23 points per game after the rule change and won 7 championships in a row across leagues. Number 5. Rick Barry, underhand free throws and the Barry rule. Rick Barry wasn't so dominant in the traditional sense, but he shot 90% from the line. It was only a matter of time before the other players started copying him. The league hated how it looked on TV, so in 1976, they briefly experimented with letting players advance past the line on free throws. When too many players started doing it, they scrapped it. Some call it the Rick Barry rule, that never fully happened. This rule didn't quite last the test of time, but we can't say the same about the next rule, as it was created to protect players. Number 4. Dennis Rodman and the Bad Boys, anti-flagrant and hand-checking changes. The 90s Pistons were so physical that the league started cracking down. After Rodman, Laimbeer and Mahorn brutalized Jordan and others. The NBA introduced the flagrant foul categories in 1990 and began phasing out hand-checking throughout the 90s and early 2000s. Rodman wasn't just rebounding, he was clotheslining people. So the league had to invent new foul categories because he made the game look like UFC. Number 3. Michael Jordan, hand-checking eliminated, 2004. Michael Jordan will always be considered the GOAT of the NBA. This is perhaps common knowledge. However, many NBA fans that didn't watch him play might not exactly understand just how good he was and why the fans adored him. You see, Michael Jordan played in an era when hand-checking was allowed and still did so well. As a matter of fact, he was so good that the league soon realized that scoring had dropped dramatically after he retired. To help other players in the NBA achieve high figures, they did something interesting. In 2004, they essentially banned forearm hand-checking to speed the game up and help the next generation of guards. Jordan was so unstoppable with physical defense that the league removed the defense to help everyone else catch up after he left. Number 2. Steph Curry, the 2010 spacing revolution and potential future rules. Steph hasn't forced a direct rule change yet, but he's the reason people are begging for one, and they just might get it. The Warriors' death lineup with Steph Curry, Klay, Draymond, Iggy, and Durant was so lethal from 3 that teams now play 5-out defense almost exclusively. There are serious discussions in 24-25 about moving the 3-point line back or adding a 4-point line because of Curry's influence. So we might soon see Curry scoring 4-pointers. This will definitely make the NBA more interesting and could drag Steph deeper into the GOAT conversation. Adam Silver has said publicly they're monitoring the 3-point revolution Steph started. He was the first player in history who might force a rule change 10 years after his prime because the entire league copied him. Number 1. James Harden, rewriting the foul baiting rulebook. James Harden is responsible for 2 major rule changes in the NBA. One was in his favor and the other wasn't. In the 2021-22 season, he forced a foul baiting rule interpretation change. The NBA told officials to stop rewarding non-basketball moves, ripping through, hook and hold, leaping into defenders unnaturally. Due to this, Harden's free throw attempts dropped from 11.8 in 2020 to 6.4 the next year. He also influenced the take foul rule in 2022, and this was because teams started intentionally fouling him in transition to prevent easy threes. The NBA created the transition take foul rule, giving the offended team one free throw plus possession. So, who do you think was the most dominant rule changer of all time? Wilt? Shaq? Steph? Drop it in the comments. Also, smash the subscribe button and turn on notifications.